Good evening. I microneedled my face on Tuesday, so Reese just got home. It's gonna be a little bit pink still, but I can wear makeup. So I'm just gonna do a little bit, chat with you all. I've just got a few things that I feel like talking about, which is generally when I decide to film a video. But let's start while I remember with, if I put that chair there, can you see it? You can. Oh well. You know what's crazy? I posted on my stories asking for some help with some before and afters for the brow products because I'm going to start doing some paid ads, but specifically for the brow products because I don't have enough stock of the mascara to run ads. Like I've just got enough to sell like organically until the next order comes in, which will be a much bigger order, but regardless. I posted the before and afters and people were like basically saying that all they noticed was my mascara in a good way. And then my lip color. So I went onto Lightroom and like tried to blur my eyelashes and mute my lips. And then Reese and I were working on the Facebook ads and he was looking at like the live reports of like who's on the website, blah, blah, blah. And all these mascaras were selling. I'm like, this is what I mean. This is why I'm going to be transitioning to Lounge Face being just a mascara brand because I literally am trying not to sell the mascara and I'm selling the mascara, which is amazing. It's an amazing problem to have, but like that's just how well it sells. So funny. Oh, I'm so excited for the redirection of it all. Anyway, okay. I've been loving this Etude Marker Tint. This is in the shade Grape Soda. I like to do this first, even though I keep forgetting. Okay. So I overdrew my lips, then used my finger to blend it out. Now, initially I was just overdrawing my lips and then trying not to get it on my actual lips. Because when you have lip products on, the contrast between my lip and this is blurred and kind of, it's more a gradient. But at the end of the day, when the lip product wears off, it's just this left over in my natural lips, which looks crazy. So I've started putting it in the middle, which does make my lips a bit more poppy, but now that I'm not fake tanning, I actually kind of like that. So I've never found a more long-lasting lip liner method. I've got another color in this brand. It's more of a pink, but I like the grape because it is closer to my natural lip color, which is more of a purpley shade. But of course, this won't really work for you unless you like wearing a pop of color on the lips. If you like nude lips, it doesn't really work. But I don't like having nude lips when I'm not fake tanned because I look passed away. This is the She Glam Love Stained Lip Tint Marker in It Girl. Now this is a very brownish kind of chocolatey shade, but I use this here. I probably don't need to. I definitely don't need to. I don't think it actually adds anything, but it just darkens it a little bit. Because by the time I put foundation on, obviously the whole thing gets subdued, but that's kind of the point as well. But I'll explain that as I go. But you really do have to blend it out as you go, otherwise it's gonna look crazy. I did a workout this morning, just for 30 minutes, upper body and a little bit of abs at the end. And I find that just saying I only want it to be like 30 minutes mentally actually makes it easier for me to go and do it. Because if I say to myself, oh, you know, a workout's not worth it unless you're working out for an hour. Oh, an hour? No. This is the She Glam Pearly White Sunburst Glow Mixer, Zero Pearly White. I still think it's kind of pointless to apply something like this underneath foundation if you are planning on setting it, which I generally do. I don't really set it too much in this area, but when you set it with powder, it ends up just being covered up anyway. Anyway, what I basically wanted to talk about was I started recording some stories yesterday on my way to a GP appointment to get referrals to see plastic surgeons. Now wait, before your mind starts racing and you start thinking thoughts, let me go down this route, okay? It's a long story and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it on YouTube rather than my stories, because stories just isn't the platform for it. You know, it would be like a million little dots and no one's really gonna wanna sit through that. Whereas this, at least you can fast forward it or skip through if it bores you. So the rules in Australia have changed around plastic surgery appointments. You need to get a GP referral, essentially, in order to see a plastic surgeon, which mixed feelings. I understand why, but then I also think like, I was so nervous about, because I don't really have a doctor down here that I have a really good relationship with. Like I have one, she's fine, but we have very different personality types. And she was just one that I went to initially and then I kept going back because I needed like follow-up things, and so I just ended up sticking with her basically for that reason. You can apparently do like telehealth or something, But I don't know, I looked on the government website about all the regulations, and I was like, I'll just do it the recommended way because I'm a little scaredy cat that doesn't like breeding rules. And anyway, I was really nervous about it because, hold that thought, Turtle or this one, Roman. New Zero Cushion in 03 Natural 21. This one is Turtle Mask Fit All Cover Cushion 17W French Vanilla. I might have to go with this one because it might have more coverage. The first referral that I wanted was to a plastic surgeon. Just quickly, see how when I apply the foundation, I've got to obviously take it off my lips, but it softens the edges quite a lot. So that was to discuss an explant and then potentially smaller implant or fat grafting. I don't really want fat grafting, or just a lift and an explant. I don't know. That's what we're gonna discuss, me and the surgeon. It was really cool. Someone else that had been to him messaged me. I haven't mentioned his name anywhere, but this person just said like, oh, I went to this doctor and he was great. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm planning on seeing. And she even sent me photos of how hers look in a bikini, like before and after. And I was like, oh my God, they look amazing. I don't think she got an explant. I think she just got a lift. But he did this like internal bra thing that I've seen him talk about. And so I might not even need another implant because I still want like I want the width and the fullness, like the upper pole fullness that I've got now, but I want the profile to be like not projected like this. I want them to be like flat, not flat, but you know, just much smaller. So basically the smallest possible implant would allow for that, but ideally I wouldn't get another implant, but if that's the only way I can achieve what I want, then I'll just have to deal with that. I had no real issue mentioning that to her because she already knows that I've got implants. I asked for a referral to get an ultrasound on them just recently. That is what it is. I mean, no shame in wanting your implants out, right? But it was the other one that I was really nervous about mentioning to her because I was just so worried about what she would think, which is the downside of having to go to a doctor to get a referral. I know they're probably doing it because people have body dysmorphia and stuff, and that's a topic I'm going to be getting to right after this. If you know, you know. If you followed my Instagram Q&A recently, yeah, I get why they're doing it. I do get it. But then it's also like, I feel like I'm asking permission from somebody outside of myself to change myself. It's like, I have to justify why I want to do something. What if I wanted a nose job? I don't, I like my nose, but what if I wanted a nose job and the GP didn't think I needed a nose job? Then I have to explain to her, justify why I think I need a nose job, which is just weird. Anyway, the appointment itself was kind of awkward. She did say like, you know, I'm an advocate for acceptance rather than changing things. And I was like, yeah, I assumed that would be the case. When I told Reese that, he's like, wow, she shouldn't have said that. Like, she should be objective. Oh, I haven't even told you what I wanted to get done, which was fat transfer under my eyes for these tear troughs that I've always had, but are just getting more prominent with age. I'd rather like see what I can do about them when I'm still younger and not have to wait until it's worse and I'm unhappy with how it looks for longer when I can just do it when I'm younger. As long as I'm obviously a candidate for it, blah, blah, blah. Plastic surgeon and I will discuss that. And I said, you know, I could get filler, like tear trough filler or cheek filler and that kind of thing. And I'm sure, you know, outcome would probably be fine, but I've just heard so many bad stories and I just don't want to take the risk. And she agreed. She's like, yeah, I've heard a lot of bad stories too. I've been liking this blush. It's by Nude Sticks. They're Stacks All Over Color Blush Balm in Pink Love. So I said to her, you know, I'd rather pay a bit more initially. I don't want the filler to migrate. I haven't done anything to my face other than like Botox and lip injections. Like I'm starting with a clean slate. And so if I'm gonna do something for the first time, I want it to be the right thing so that I'm minimizing all the risks, essentially. I want to speak to a plastic surgeon, a facial plastic surgeon, specialist facial plastic surgeon, and see what they think. And she does fat grafting, this particular plastic surgeon. She specializes in like facelifts and stuff, but she also does fat grafting. Because I posted about seeing a plastic surgeon, which is where the title comes in, I did a Q&A and I got a handful of really passive-aggressive, snide, bitchy comments, questions from people saying basically like, you're so obsessed with yourself, you need to stop looking in the mirror, you have body dysmorphia, do you ever think you'll get over yourself? Like just really, I have so much to talk about. This is the rant that I'm about to embark on. If I had said that I am seeing an injector to get tear trough filler instead of I'm going to see a plastic surgeon to get fat transfer under my eyes, which are essentially achieving the exact same purpose. The injector comment no one would have thought twice about, because it is such a normal thing for women my age to do. So many people have had tear trough filler throughout their like late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. Same thing with cheek filler. And because you're seeing an injector, it doesn't have that stigma around plastic surgeon. When you think of plastic surgeon, you think, oh my god, that person's like wanting to change their entire appearance, like they're going under the knife to change everything. No, I'm willing to spend more money to go down the safer route. That is essentially all this boils down to. I'm terrified of anything going wrong with my face. I'm terrified of doing anything that I can't reverse. So I haven't tried all these cool new like anti-aging things that everyone talks about, because I'll hear one good thing and then I'll hear a bad thing and I'm like, no, I'm not risking it. And so by me even speaking to a plastic surgeon, like, that's a huge deal in and of itself. But I'm doing it because I trust her over anybody else, because she's a plastic surgeon and she's a specialist plastic surgeon. So like, how are you gonna turn into a bad thing, me wanting to be as safe and as cautious and have this as well thought out as possible? Like, I have to wait like half a year to see her. Like, this isn't some urgent thing like, oh my god, I hate myself, I need to change everything. I've had this since I was a child. The only difference is now is that I'm getting older. Gravity is doing its thing, everything's sinking, lowering slowly over time, and so it's just going to get more prominent and more prominent. And if you have them and they don't bother you, amen, love that for you. But we are not the same human being, and what I choose to do with my body does not have to be the same as what you choose to do with yours. I don't judge you for what you do with yours. I don't care what you do with yours. Why do you care what I do with mine? Pests. Powder, this is my favorite powder, the Kosas Cloud Set in Airy. I did just buy 2 new powders, 2 Korean brands. I thought that would be amazing, but this is just the best. They kind of, just not the same. So anyway, I got the referrals to the plastic surgeon. Those DMs that I was getting about the body dysmorphia thing, because it just irritates me so much for so many reasons. First of all, it's my fault for expecting other people to behave in the way that I would behave, which, not to blow my own horn, is respectful and well-mannered and polite, okay? It's like me going into your house, and you and I are strangers. Like, I follow you on social media, but like, I don't know you personally. Me going to your house and going, oh my god, you've chosen to furnish your house like this? Wow, you must be mentally unstable. Oh gosh, like, you're knocking a wall down because you think you need a bigger living area? Wow, why can't you just be grateful for the living area you already have? You must really be so unhappy with your life that you feel the need for a bigger living area. Oh my god, I would never paint the walls that color. Oh, that couch? Why would you choose that? Like, someone that you don't know, you're walking to someone that you don't know's house and being like, oh, I hate what you've done here. I absolutely hate it. No, you're the weirdo. You're the weirdo. For these women, and they're always women, which is the most depressing part, to come into my little positive space and spout all that BS about stuff that you know nothing about. You're just using buzzwords, body dysmorphia. I don't care what you do with your body, because I'm a normal person. You're a weirdo. Yeah, I'm gonna be passionate, okay? You have stinky, weirdo, gross, crusty energy. Oh, couldn't be me. No way. If you were my real friend in the real world and you came to me and you said, Lauren, you've had a lot of plastic surgeries recently. You look so different. I'm just checking in, like, is everything okay? Yeah, you know me, you know my personality, like, you know so much more about me that I would respect that because it's coming from a place of love. If you're a stranger on the internet, pushing a wall down with your big stompy boots, diagnosing me with mental health disorders with your invisible medical degree, I would like to turn the mirror and face it towards you. The call is coming from inside the house. Perhaps you're the one that needs to speak to a mental health professional because you're a bully and a weirdo. Because the people that message that are always behind like anonymous accounts, or they're always like private. It's always you're saying it from this little private cave, little underground troll village that you guys all apparently live in. It's never coming from a warm, genuine place. It's always written in a really bitchy, mean way, which is how I know that you actually don't care. You're just having fun being a loser. So I'm probably giving you exactly what you wanted, which is attention. I genuinely like pity you. I just hate people judging other people. Why are some people so preoccupied with what other people choose to do in their own lives? If it doesn't affect you, why do you care? Like, get alive. Genuinely get alive. Are you so bothered and triggered and bitter about another person? Like, I pay tax. I can spend my money however I like, okay? If you're so bothered by someone choosing to spend their money in a way that enhances their confidence, whether or not you agree with that or you would do it yourself is irrelevant. Because first of all, I never asked. Second of all, you're not me. If you don't want to get plastic surgery, don't. It's not like the people that follow me are 13-year-old girls. We're all the same age. We're all grown adults. If that's what you're saying, like I'm being a bad role model, no one even said that, because I think they do have some brain cells intact where they realize that people that follow me are of the same age. And those brain cells are hanging on by a thread though. Hourglass, incandescent strobe light. And a lot of people were saying as well, when I replied to those stories, I was like, if you ever say anything like this to me, I'm blocking you instantly. I have no space for that kind of energy on my page. And people were saying like, it's just embarrassing that they would even accuse me of being so overly obsessed with myself when I'm just actually honest about what's on my mind. Someone's like, so they don't look in the mirror. There's people like aren't aware of how they look. They don't try to change their appearance, whether it be clothing or hair or hairstyling or a tiny bit of makeup ever, in order to increase their confidence. So they're allowed to do that. But if I do one thing that they don't agree with, then I'm like, literally have a mental health disorder. I look so different to how I used to look, unrecognizable, body dysmorphia vibes. But then the other part of this that irritates me is the fact that I'm just honest. It's something that I am. It's a really hard thing to be online these days because everyone has something to say about everything. And if you're honest about what you're thinking and feeling, which is the way I've always been, that's like probably half the reason why I have a platform. If you watch my stories regularly, oh my God, the amount of topics I cover in a short period of time sometimes is wild. I often think that social media is just like my journal, which is why I go on rants all the time, because I have a thought that pops into my head, which is also probably the ADHD thing, but I have a thought that pops into my head and I'm like, I've got to talk about it. It's just me sharing things that I'm interested in. But because of that, because I'm open, I leave myself vulnerable to those pests that have something to say about it. This is the Lounge Face Brow Pencil in taupe, the best brow pencil in the world ever. I said to one of the trolls, so what would you like me to do then? Just lie and say I've never had anything done, and then have these women that follow me look at me and think that my appearance is all natural, and then ask me, oh, what skincare are you using? And then they'll go and waste money on skincare that actually did nothing because I'm just lying about the fact that I had work done. Like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to make people feel worse about themselves. I like to be transparent. And evidently, we're all getting to an age now where aging is becoming more visible in our faces. And so we are having these thoughts. I can guarantee you most of the women, actually I know because they DM me and we talk about it. A lot of the women, not because of what I've said, not because I planted the seed, but because I've mentioned that I was thinking about it, and they say, I've been looking into it too. And we talk about it because it's like you notice these changes and you want to feel good in your appearance. You just want to feel confident. It affects my life in such a positive way when I do. Yeah, I can't explain it to those who don't want to understand. That's what it essentially comes down to. You have a different set of ideals than me. Your ideals are natural beauty, wrinkles, embracing aging. It's great. Go you, I don't care. But like, it irritates me when I don't pass judgment about what you choose to do, but then you pass judgment about what I do. You're basically saying to me that your values are right and mine are wrong, and so you're going to tell me off or police my values because they don't align with yours and you think yours are right and mine are wrong. Not the vibe, you know, not cool. I've plucked my eyebrows thinner. I do have some tattoo like here, a little bit there, that still pokes through, but that's fine. I really like the thinner brow look these days. And I know I can get them zapped off, but it doesn't bother me. It's kind of nice to have something there when I don't wear makeup. I was on TikTok the other day and I saw an interview with Cameron Diaz. And Cameron Diaz, I believe, similar to like Drew Barrymore, I don't think she does anything to her face, like any anti-aging stuff. I don't think she gets Botox or anything like that. So she's got wrinkles because that's what happens obviously as we get older. I just always find the comments so interesting because they're always so divided. Half of them are like, oh my God, she looks so beautiful. So great seeing a woman embracing her age, blah, blah, blah. Totally agree. And then the other half, wow, she looks so old. She looked so much better when she was younger. What happened to her? What happened to her face? I didn't even recognize her. And I've also noticed, this always makes me laugh because it's just proves my point even more, but whenever I see anyone talking about a celebrity and like if it's a before or after or like them through the years or something, the comments always say that they looked best in this like specific era. The underlying message, no matter how the comment is worded, is always that they looked better when they were younger. And I say, oh, why did they change their face? The person, a lot of the time, hasn't changed their face. Maybe they've gotten like a little bit of, I don't know, Botox or filler or something, but I'm talking about the ones that generally haven't actually had much done. And people are like, oh, I look so much better when they... And I don't even think these people that are commenting are even aware of what they're saying, or like the reason why they look different is just because they've gotten older. It's like there's such an unconscious bias towards youth. I think some of it is also probably like actually just part of human nature. I don't know. that's a whole other topic, but is it like procreation where younger women can have babies and are more fertile, so they're kind of put on a pedestal as opposed to older women? I don't know, is that part of it? I don't know. But then these same people will be like, oh, I don't believe in surgery. Oh, they look so fake. Oh, everyone wants their cake and to eat it too. They unconsciously or subconsciously have this preference towards youth. But then when someone does something to try and achieve that youthful look, they're like, oh, yuck, bad person. Body dysmorphia. If you are naturally perfect and if you don't look 22 your entire life, no thanks. Lounge Face Clear Brow Gel. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you're a celebrity and you're honest about work you've had done, then they'll use that against you in any way that they can. Any way they can. Think about any celebrity who's been honest. It's slightly different now. Sometimes I think people are kind of a little bit more, or at least in the circles that I follow on social media, people respect it because it's so uncommon for a celebrity to be honest. But if you lie because you don't want to attract all the negativity that will come with being honest, so you lie, then people are going to accuse you of lying. So it's like, you're damned if you're honest, you're damned if you lie, you're damned if you don't get work done because then you look old, but then you're damned if you do get work done because you're trying to trace your youth. Women are just set up to fail regardless. So stuff what anyone else thinks and just do what makes you happy. Mic drop. And it's so funny as well, the attitude towards anyone. If I got every single surgery to make myself look as good as I could possibly look, if I don't know, lifted my brows and pulled my face here and made my lips bigger and, I don't know, did all the things that I could do to make my face look as close to the beauty ideal as possible, there's no doubt in my mind I would get more engagement, more comments, more people asking me what I've done, or more compliments on my appearance than I did if I didn't do anything at all. Like including if I didn't get any Botox, nothing at all. It's a fact, it's a fact, it's a fact, it's a fact. And if you don't believe me, look at Lindsay Lohan, because she's had work done throughout her entire career, but up until like a year ago basically, she looked generally the same, you know. Make a Max single shadow in Flipside with a little angled brush. This just makes such a difference to my finished eye look now that I don't really wear eyeshadow because of my fake tan. I mean, my lack of fake tan. So she got all this subtle but incredible work done. She looks like herself but literally younger than she's ever looked or something. It's weird. Same thing with Christina Aguilera. They look like them, but like they've just gone back in time. And oh my God, the way that people talk about her now, everyone is obsessed with how amazing she looks. She's probably gonna get way more job opportunities because of this. And she's never acknowledged anything, of course. And I don't blame her. I don't blame people for not being honest. I blame people when they're like selling you something they obviously didn't use in order to achieve that, like the Kardashians have done with like weight loss teas and stuff. In every single possible way, women are always celebrated when they look young. Lounge Face eyelash curler. Anyway, I think I've gotten that off my chest. I ran into the same mistake on my stories the other day where I was reading some tweets. I never go on Twitter, but there's this business entrepreneur that I listened to his podcast, and I just wanted to see if he has done any other tweets, because he tweets a lot, and I ran out of his podcasts to listen to. And he was like retweeting some and quote tweeting some stuff about the rentals in LA, and I very naively, I should have known better, I guess. He was talking about a rental crisis thing in LA and how there was this one landlord that was like doubling the price during the fires, and I usually do this, I put disclaimers before everything, and the one time I don't is when I get attacked. Of course, I always put disclaimers and always preface everything I say to avoid this happening, and the time that I don't is when... Anyway, what I was essentially doing was just reading like the back and forth opinions for each party, because that's interesting. Lounge Face lash. So I was discussing this back and forth. I didn't put any disclaimers, I didn't preface anything. It was just an interesting conversation that I was sharing on my stories and talking about. Just an interesting, different perspectives. It's literally all it was. And it turns out that I only found this out after the fact, after I'd said like I've got all these random in my hidden inbox, all these random like pitchforkers that are going nuts at me. And it turns out that someone had posted about me in a dark corner of the internet, and they rallied the troops. And spent time out of their very busy lives, obviously, DMing me and telling me what a bad person I was. So, okay, that's the context. Now, I think Something we're struggling with these days is and I also struggle with this, and I have been guilty of this. I say this as someone who has struggled with this and will probably struggle with it in the future. There's no doubt I will probably be a hypocrite and I'll probably go back on this unintentionally, like not even realizing that I am. But I'm willing to admit when I stuff up. We need to be able to have discussions about different perspectives without grabbing pitchforks and rallying the troops and going in on someone for having a different opinion. Like, if you cannot tolerate the idea of someone else entertaining different perspectives, that is genuinely unhealthy. There is a difference between endorsing and entertaining. I think everyone that got angry at me, all the blood rushed to their head and their critical thinking flew out the window if it was ever there to begin with. And they said, Lauren is talking about this on her stories, which means that she believes in these viewpoints, these perspectives. Even though I was sharing both, because everyone wants to assume the worst of everyone, I'm endorsing the bad one only, not the good one that I was mentioning. I'm only endorsing the villain in this story. Oh my God. And this isn't me like not being able to take criticism. I've done that plenty of times. You gotta be able to do it with this kind of platform. This is different because all of the calm, level-headed, critical thinkers were having healthy discussions about it with me in my DMs. Like, no one was angry at me. They actually messaged me respectfully because they didn't think that I was endorsing something that I wasn't, because they know, at least I'm assuming they know, that I was discussing the back and forth, the different perspectives that they keep saying. I was agreeing with all of them. They were all had such amazing perspectives that they were sharing. They're all different perspectives too. It wasn't all just that one perspective, which is landlord bad. In that situation that I was mentioning, the landlord was bad, but I was talking about it at a more general level. I was using that as the starting point of the conversation because that's the one that I started out with. I think people assumed that anything I mentioned afterwards was about that, which is obviously my fault. I should have been clearer. I should have put disclaimers. I just thought people would read between the lines. God forbid. You have got to be able to have discussions about things that make you uncomfortable just because you have had a bad experience with a landlord. And again, disclaimer, I'm not talking about this example that I had mentioned, this extreme example that I had mentioned in the video. Again, it was a starting point of a greater conversation about landlords versus tenants, which I think is a very interesting thing. It's very polarizing. Sometimes it's interesting to have conversations. Just because you have had many or one, or someone you know has had many or one bad experience with a landlord doesn't mean that they are all bad. Just because you've had a positive experience with a landlord doesn't mean that they're all good. There is grey in between the black and the white. And if you are stuck on only thinking in the black or the white, you are going to live a very miserable life, which it sounds like you already do if you're spending your free time going onto someone's page who you don't already follow to insult them. Like, if you saw that screenshot video thing of the one person's, I'll put it on the screen now so you can see as I talk, just to give you context for what I'm actually talking about here. I'm not talking about people being like, oh my God, weird take. I'm talking about people like verbally going nuts at me. It's very, very immature to not be able to discuss opinions or perspectives that don't align with yours. If we all stay so narrow-minded and are so unwilling to expand our worldview or update our beliefs or audit our beliefs, we don't evolve. So much important change has happened through uncomfortable conversations. If you can't take someone entertaining another perspective, like, that's really concerning. I genuinely think that's concerning. I like to think I was clear in that conversation that I had, that I was discussing different opinions, but evidently I wasn't, which is also really concerning, that like a lot of people just assume the worst so quickly and don't even stop to think, is that what Lauren really meant? Would Lauren have really meant that? Like, someone messaged me and said when she saw my stories, she was initially annoyed, and then she went away from them, had time to reflect and actually appreciated the perspective and realized where I was coming from. And I said, the perspective that you have is the one that I have. And I said, I apologize for not making that clearer. That is how you handle something maturely. You don't like act off the adrenaline, off of your anger. You pause, you take a second, you dwell on it, and then you think about every perspective, because you're not always right about everything. Like, I wonder how those people go in arguments with their significant others if they struggle so much seeing things from other perspectives and they just think that they are right about everything. Like, that's why Reese and I's relationship is so amazing, because we always see things from the other's perspective. Like, It's so easy to get caught up in the way you feel about something. You know, oh, it really hurt my feelings. There's only one way to see this, which is that you hurt my feelings. Well, okay, that's how I feel about the situation. My feelings were hurt. Then we think of it from the other perspective. Would that person have been intentionally trying to hurt my feelings? Is that the kind of person I think they are? No. So what do they mean by it? What could they have meant by that? Was it the tone that I misinterpreted, or that they didn't realize it sounded the way it did? Was it poorly communicated? Did they mean something else than they actually said? Did they actually mean to say that? Why do they mean to say that? Rather than just, how dare you say that, you hurt my feelings, I hate you, you don't love me, you hate me, I hate you. Now, obviously, again, here comes another disclaimer. I'm not talking about extreme arguments or like physical violence and things like that, obviously. My God, do we all have one brain cell that I need to even say that? Damn. What it comes down to probably is just that like everyone online is so terrified of being caught out for having an opinion that's wrong that they virtue signal and point the finger and deflect onto other people who they believe are wrong. To, again, virtue signal to everyone around them that I know what's right and I'm telling this person off because I'm a good person and they're bad. And by me telling them that they're bad makes me even better and I'm on my high horse now and I'm safe and I'm good. Yeah, sometimes some people's viewpoints are really, really problematic. Racism, homophobia, violence towards women, those things, they're never okay. If you see someone doing that, call it out. But if you're entertaining two different perspectives on landlords versus tenants and you're getting angry about that, angry, like 10 separate DMs replying to all of my stories, calling me very basic, uninspired insults within the space of a few minutes, that's on you. The problem is not me. It may be time to look in the mirror. This is the Hologram Fruity Glass Tint in 03 Soda Cool Peach. Again, this isn't a makeup tutorial, it's just a chat. My favorite thing to do, discuss things. I don't even know how much of this video I'm even gonna end up posting, to be honest. Even this feels too controversial. I just wish that our first response to people with differing opinions than ours, or even just someone entertaining two different opinions, the first response wasn't hatred and anger. Again, granted that the context is tame and mild, I don't think I'll ever be free of my disclaimers. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I will feel comfortable not putting them in my videos because this is what happens when I don't. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Sorry if that was a bit intense, but hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you later.